Sarah and welcome to Little Nutshells, a YouTube channel for new mamas exploring all things baby and toddler. Today I am honoured to have with me Dr Lisa Lim, the founder of the speech practice. Well, I want to start with the basics because I have to admit, as a parent of two children, I actually don't know much about speech and what I should be expecting from them. So could you please share a bit about what's typical?
Certainly. So when we look at communication, we're really referring to both speech as well as language. Now, speech refers to the accurate production of speech sounds, while language refers to the number of words that a child is able to string together. And typically, you would expect at least 50 words, a minimum of 50 words in their vocabulary by 2 years old.
And what about typical sounds? What would you recommend for us to be expecting?
That's another great question, Sarah. So you're looking at bilabial sounds, and bilabial sounds are sounds that are easily seen, or they're very visible, and that's why children pick up mama first. So you're able to see how I produce M with the lips, two lips together, so your upper and bottom lip. Another sound that's a bilabial sound is a P, and that's why most children might have apple as their first word, or papa, so it's a. You're also looking at sounds like T and D. So in all together, back sounds such as K and G. They come between any time from about 18 to about 2 years. You might also have some tricky sounds or challenging sounds. So a lot of young children before the ages of 3 might have reduplication. So that means water might sound like wawa, or biscuit might sound bibi. That typically resolves or goes away by 3. We might have young children substituting sounds as well. They do this to simplify the sounds and make it easier for them to say. So we might have twinkle twinkle little star as twinkle twinkle little tar.
So what age should they pick up some of these tricky sounds?
We should expect them to be able to say these sounds by about 3 to 3.5 years old. So L and R are typically harder sounds or later developing sounds, and we'd expect them to acquire these anywhere from between 4 to 5 years old.
Why is this age so important?
Research shows that birth to 7 years old is a critical developmental period in a child's life, mainly due to brain plasticity. So early intervention minimizes and, in most cases, decreases the need for intervention later on, while building confidence as well as social communication.
And what exactly though is brain plasticity?
Basically, a newborn has many neurons and interconnections as well as synapses. We want to make as many synapses as possible, and that connection will help the child to develop their cognitive skills, their play skills, their problem-solving skills, and that's going to serve a greater purpose, not just for communication, but lifelong learning.
So moving on now to red flags.
I'd like you to be looking out for these. Limited or really reduced eye contact, no response to his name when you call him or her name, and you'll also be looking out for reduced imitation. So when you're trying to engage with a child, say with a simple cause and effect toy, pushing a car down a ramp, the child is unable to imitate or copy your actions. When it comes to communication, 2 things: no babbling by about 12 months, ba 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 ta ta ta, ka ka ka, ba ta ka, and you don't notice any of these. You'll also have a lot of social referencing and joint attention. So if you point to an object, the child turns to the direction in which you're pointing to. But if you notice the child not doing that, that's also another red flag. Sometimes they might not be interested in play with other children. They might prefer playing on their own, and to a large extent that might be another cause for concern, particularly if they have very restricted or repetitive movements, such as opening and closing the door repetitively, or pushing or stacking a block and then knocking it down, stacking a block and knocking it down again, and they might be able to do it continuously throughout the whole day. Regression, or what we call loss of language, so you might hear a child say a string of words meaningfully but never again. That's a little rare, but if that happens, I'll encourage you to seek your pediatrician.
And then what are some treatment options once someone comes to a speech therapist? What can they expect?
So we work with parents to encourage language. We also look into the reasons why some of this might be happening. It could be related to an oromotor difficulty. It could also be related to a cognitive difficulty. So we work together in partnership with parents.
And is there anything else we should be doing for our young children?
So a great place to start would be home. A great strategy would be self-talk. That's describing what you're doing as you go about your daily life. So if you're cooking for your child, you might say, I'm cooking, mommy's cooking, nice soup, hot soup, chicken soup, yum. So you're really a loudspeaker for your child. You're describing what you're doing as you're going about in your daily life. When the child's able to then copy your words, you might extend the sentence, and that's another strategy. It's called extension. Another great strategy would be parallel talk. So that means talking about what your child is doing. For example, you might say, doll, doll house, open door, girl walks in, sleep, baby drink. So those are all words that you could use to describe what your child is doing. If she's engaged in, say, for example, a doll play, you might be looking at a wheel, a language wheel. So that includes tagging an action with an object. So you might go stir juice, that would be an action word. You might use a color, orange juice. So there are many, many different words or combinations that you could use to extend your child's language.
Fantastic, so good to know. What about using baby language with kids?
We call that motherese and fatheries. So you might go...
There's a name for it?
Yeah, there is a name for
it.
And we typically become more animated. We typically will use high pitches, low pitches, and that's perfectly normal. What we don't want is to speak ungrammatically.
So if a family has a child with speech delays, will they grow out of it without doing anything?
Yeah. Well, I get asked that question a lot. So, the short answer is we don't know. But we really don't want to leave it to chance. So early intervention is key, just because during that period where the child's able to pick up words and sounds, particularly during the preschool years, we want to maximize that. And that's important before the child goes to formal education and starts schooling. That's when they pick up friendship skills, communication skills, and we want a child to be able to maximize those opportunities. Seeking help early will help your child to develop not just cognitively, but also emotionally, as well as expand his or her language.
And as one last tip, is there anything you would like to share with parents today?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that parents, if you do feel that, am I to blame for any of my child's conditions, particularly relating to communication difficulties, do not blame yourself. I just want to reassure you that sometimes the causes for these conditions are unknown. If you feel that there is a cause for concern, seek help, have an initial consultation, and that's going to allay some of your fears.
Let me just see what's the next question. Yeah, of course. Should I ask again?
Yeah, you could.
That's a wrap. So that's it for today. I hope you found something useful here. You might also be interested in best educational shows for toddlers with my top 10 on YouTube in 2023. Thank you for watching Little Nutshells. Have a great day.